Good afternoon, wonderful citizens of Windsor. This is one of the best cities in the country to live in. The spirit in this town is amazing.
I'm not an activist, I'm not a COVID denier, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am Canadian and I am a critical thinker. Do we have any critical thinkers out there? Right. And I know the police are critical thinkers too. And I know that the people in government, they probably are critical thinkers as well and thinking, what the hell are we doing? Right? Some of them must get up in the morning and question that.
We have daily briefings in the province of Ontario, and I'm getting a little tired of these daily briefings.
We have the freedom to conscience, freedom of religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, expression, speech, press, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of association. Every single thing I just read to you here, they are trying to take away from you.
I'm a little bit more enthusiastic than most folks. I predicted we'd have 10,000 people at our Santa Claus parade. But you know what? Someone's got to be the cheerleader when this is all going on.
I know everybody's sick of masks. I wanted to talk about it a little bit, even though we're all sick of talking about them and worrying about them and being told to wear them. But, well, I know there's some disagreement. Some people don't really want to talk about it anymore. They don't want to say that we're anti-mask. It's negative. I can see that. But personally, I think it's important to speak negatively about bad things. But that doesn't mean speaking negatively about people. And so, speaking for myself here, whenever asked, I will continue to say to anyone that I am anti-mask because I am pro-freedom and because I am pro-safety. And I think it's okay to keep speaking out calmly and kindly against masking. I am anti-mask because I am pro-you. And I want to see Windsor's beautiful faces.
We had the 14 days to stop the spread. You know, they locked down the schools, they locked down the businesses.
And they locked down on Quebec. You all know they've been trying to separate for many, many years. When I was a kid, I heard about the Quebec separation movement. So that's why you see them crack down so hard on those freedom-loving Canadians. And it's do or die, right? It's fight or flight at this point for them. And we have our wonderful police force that are enforcing these draconian laws, right? And at the end of the day, I want all of you to listen, all of the police to listen to me right now. You are the ones who enforce the laws, the draconian laws, not the politicians. You are listening to the criminals, okay? You are listening to the criminals. You are the strong arm for the criminal corporation. So think about that. Go home and think about that tonight. Please and thank you.
How's everyone doing today? Good. I see a bunch of friendly faces that love freedom. That's nice. I always tell people that we are stronger together. They would have us believe otherwise. They being the elects, the people that we trust, the politicians. You know, they've really kind of crammed this down our throats. You know, I remember the CBC when all this was starting up. You know, they put out segments called All Alone Together. Very, very divisive, and they show pictures of, you know, our elderly in nursing homes behind the glass, their family wishing they could reach out. You know, at this point, you know, they had riots happening in the street and protesting, and the people who said that we shouldn't be gathering together, they were all for those the lawlessness and the riots. So if we could only imagine what that must have been like to not be able to see our, you know, our parents and grandparents while you get certain groups in the streets doing the cha-cha slide and all this, that, and the other for fighting for equality, as they say. I mean, take a look around us, folks. I mean, what do we see? You know, we see family and friends being pushed apart from each other. Did anyone else's family cancel Christmas this year? Anyone else? Yeah. Well, thankfully there are some sane people. Friends, family being torn apart. People forcing, you know, parents forcing their kids into masks. Church services being closed down. And, you know, it's not right. This isn't the country I grew up in. This isn't the country that any of you grew up in. Who would have thought? That's right, it's not freedom. And we have people who have just eaten the propaganda and think this is for our own good when we all know that the numbers don't back up what they're forcing on us. That's right, yeah. tyranny, the public safety is always the alibi of tyrants. And it's wonderful to see all your faces here, and we are stronger together. So hopefully we can keep on coming out and keeping this and keep this going. And I have no doubt that we will grow, and we eventually they will hear our voice, and all those people who have pushed this on us, we will hold them accountable. Right, this is just the beginning of what is happening. We started the year with a lockdown, folks, and now Doug Ford is telling us that more extensive measures are on the way, but he won't tell us yet. Yeah, so let's say no. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to let you lock us down. We're not going to let you take our worship services away from us. You're not coming into our house. You're not coming to take Christmas or any other of our holidays away from us. So let's remember the sacrifice that our soldiers in the past have made to preserve freedom in this country. So, as they say, lest we forget, when we are under attack, when there's tyrannical rule spreading, every day is Remembrance Day, folks. So let us not forget the sacrifice that has been made to preserve freedom in this country. Thank you very much.
You've all seen the censorship that's happening. There's a lot of stuff going on over across the pond. And they're censoring people hardcore. And everyone says Trump's a dictator, but dictators aren't silenced, are they? Now they're attacking Parler, which was an alternative social media who stood for free speech. Apple has said, censor or you're out. That's tyranny. Those are the dictators. They're corporate dictators. And now he mentioned canceling Christmas. That hits home to me. My family, my mom comes from a big family. There's 10 kids. And since I've been born, since the day I was born, we've been meeting Christmas Eve, every single Christmas Eve, okay? I'm 37. For 36 years, these people have been getting together and celebrating. This year, we couldn't. They didn't want to, and I understand, I respect why they didn't want to. But it's the government that told them not to, right? It's these people, and speaking of those people who told us to stay home and stay apart, they all went on vacation.
Friends, by now we know that this is not about a virus, but it's about control. It's about manipulation. When politician after politician go on vacation, and even one of them, sadly from Ontario, even made a video to convince people he was at home sipping eggnog, we know it's not about a virus. And, ladies and gentlemen, at the rate it's going, with so many politicians being fired and laid off, our country's actually, it's going to be in pretty good shape after a while. We as Christians, as the faith community, did not seek conflict, nor do we now.
That's right.
It has been their wicked agenda that has collided with what we have stood for and have done for millennia. And we have simply stood. We have always gathered, and we will keep on gathering. No one is allowed to even question their narrative, but yet our rights of religion and of peaceful assembly are being freely trampled upon. When this pandemic started, we responded by questioning the narrative. We were careful, we were cautious, but dear friends, 10 months into their narrative has made us 10 months smarter and 10 months bolder. We're not questioning their narrative anymore. We are actively resisting it. When you touch the church, you touch the apple of God's eye. He has commanded us to assemble. We will obey His command over your commands, His will over your will, and His laws over your laws. For, as the apostles of the primitive church said, we must obey God rather than man. It is to Him, O leaders, that you must ultimately answer. In the past several weeks, we have seen pastors and faith leaders fined and charged at an unprecedented rate. I personally have received both a court summons and a fine. Why? For exercising my right of peaceful assembly with a small group of believers. Officers have entered our church building without permission. Also, at the same time, disrupting the church service, all in direct contravention of Section 176 of the Canadian Criminal Code. Upon being confronted over their unlawful acts, all officers present openly acknowledged they were acting against the law. In sincerity, I ask our officers this question. Are you in fact determined to be on the wrong side of history? What is your job worth once your conscience has been violated? Does the praise of your supervisor so greatly outweigh the reprimands of your own spirit? Thomas Jefferson says that if a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey it, he is obligated to do so. And while some accuse us of simply wanting to live above the law, which is not the case, we simply acknowledge this afternoon that there is one who is the supreme lawgiver. And there comes a time, dear friends, there comes a time when to be obedient to God, we must disobey some laws of the land. It is evident that that time is upon us.
So this year, my resolution was to spend 2 hours a day protesting outside the Windsor Police Department. To which I did that every day last week. Had some wonderful conversations with men and women in law enforcement. But the more important thing there, I was there, I had a few friends who had joined me. We were not organized. We were just a bunch of Canadians who have finally had enough and decided to stand together. But people walking down the street were stopping and talking to us. They were walking away with our information. So, here's what I say to people. You do not, and trust me, I'm not saying don't come to your big rallies. These are important for our energy. These are important for all of our faith. This is important. But what can you as individuals do to ensure that our country does not fall? Can you? Go have a conversation at your community center. You got it at a place that you think is important? Think there's a message that needs to be said there? Why don't you just take it upon yourself to go? Go, do it. The place, they came out, they said to me the other day, so who's the organizer here? And we all know where that goes, right? They didn't know how to understand it when I said, there is no organizer. I and my friends are here as a bunch of pissed off Canadians who've had enough.
Where do you draw the line? And that's something that everyone here has to think about. What is the bottom line for you to wake up and realize that our country is in big trouble?
Living in this country is a blessing. All of us living together teaches the world a lesson. The many different flavors in our country like a cultural delicatessen. We got to protect what we have and not give it away. Uphold our sovereignty from the forces at play. Let's work to make sure our high standard of living ain't slipping. This is the land of opportunity. So do something good for your community. We need to demonstrate our unity, maintain our strength in the face of adversity, because we are Canadian.